Hello. Just explaining find the right page here. A forearm routine I did 7/26/2024. This routine was, I would say it was probably decently long. It was in a different gym. It was not my gym, it was someone else's. And it was very effective. I believe it was very hot out during that time, so it was kind of like working it out in a sauna. But that's if you've never experienced like no AC, like working out no AC, you should really do that. It's just a whole new experience, and it is very. I think it's much more effective than working out in a environment controlled area. There's just something about it, like just you're just sweating so much. You just want to make sure you're properly hydrated, and if you're not used to it, you're probably not going to lift poundages that you're used to. But I just think it just builds a whole other aspect of strength, being in like a hot climate like that. So if you've never done it, I recommend it. It puts a whole new twist on training. So. But enough of that. We'll start here. The first movement that I did was a 2-inch wrist roller. It was in a fixed position, and it was just a reverse roll only. So I started out with 25 pounds, then went to 45, 70, then 90, then 100. And then I did a couple down sets at 75, 55, and 35. And the last set, I did 12 reps. And or rolls, whatever you want to call it, and I feel like that was I don't think it was an AMRAP, but it had to have been close. But no, I feel like it was close to that. The next thing that I did was a standing wrist extension, and I used straps. This one was not with the axle bar. I have done this exercise with the axle bar, but this time I did not. This is a movement that I've really never seen anybody do. If you've never tried it, you don't have to use straps. I was just kind of doing it as an experiment to see if it isolated the forearms more. When you don't use straps, it's going to be the forearms and the grip. But I recommend giving this a try. It does give just a pretty decent pump in your extensors. And it's just a whole different feel than just doing the extensions on like this on the flat plane or horizontal plane, whatever you want to call it. So same as the other movement, kind of just worked up to a heavy weight and then did down set. So 95 for 20, 110 for 20, 120 for 20, and 100 for 30. And this movement, you're not getting a lot of range of motion. It's very short range of motion. So it'll feel a little bit weird, but after you do enough reps, you do start feeling it. So if you never tried it, I just recommend giving it a try. The next thing I did was a giant set with wrist deviation standing, and I just added weight progressively and then did a down set. So I started with 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, 20 pounds, all for 12, and then I did. After the 20, I worked back down to 15, 10 for 12, and then ended with 5 pounds for kind of an AMRAP again, not really a true AMRAP, but 50 reps, and felt like that was enough reps. Got a pretty decent burn in there. So yeah, this was a pretty decent workout. I think it was kind of time-wise, it was maybe an hour, hour and a half, nothing too crazy. I think the wrist roller probably took the most time, kind of to set up and all that kind of thing. But pretty straightforward forearm exercises. And if you have any questions, comments, or tips, leave them down below. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon.